If you served in the years when Agent Orange was being used, the VA may already owe you a check worth more than $3,000 a month. Not because of some loophole, because of a rule that's been sitting on the books for years. And here's the part that costs so many veterans so much money. You don't have to prove your illness came from your service. The VA already presumes it. Most veterans have never been told that one word, and it's the reason a benefit they earned is just sitting there, unclaimed. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly which conditions qualify, who actually counts as exposed, and step by step how you claim it. And stay with me to the end, because if you were ever denied before, there's a change in the law that could turn that old no into a yes. So let's start with that one word because it changes everything. The word is presumed. For most VA claims, the burden's on you. You've got to prove your condition is connected to your service. But for veterans exposed to Agent Orange, the VA flips that around. If your service put you where that chemical was used and you come down with one of the conditions on a certain list, the VA just accepts that your service caused it. You don't have to connect the dots. You don't have to prove that a chemical you never even saw, used a lifetime ago, is the reason your body's failing you now. They presume that connection for you. That's why this benefit is so powerful and so often missed. Here's why the rule exists. Agent Orange got used widely back then, and over time, the government accepted that it caused a whole range of serious illnesses, the kind that don't show up until years, sometimes decades later. So instead of forcing every aging veteran to prove the impossible, they built a list of conditions they just accept as connected. And in recent years, a law called the PACT Act made that list even longer and made it easier for veterans who'd been turned away before to come back and try again. So let me tell you what's actually on that list, because this is where so many veterans count themselves out without realizing they already qualify. It includes type 2 diabetes. It includes ischemic heart disease, which is the most common kind of heart trouble there is. It includes Parkinson's disease. It includes several cancers, including prostate cancer, which so many older men face. And not long ago, they added high blood pressure, plain, ordinary hypertension, the kind millions of people take a daily pill for and never think twice about. If you've got one of these and you were exposed, the door may already be open for you. And here's something even fewer veterans know, and it can make a real difference to your check. Once one of these conditions is service-connected, the problems it causes can be claimed too. Doctors call those secondary conditions. Diabetes, for example, can lead to nerve damage in your feet, to kidney trouble, to problems with your eyes. Heart disease can bring on other complications. Each of those related conditions can be added to your claim, and each one can raise your overall rating. So this isn't always just one condition. It can be a whole chain of them, all flowing from that first presumed connection. Most veterans stop at the one illness and never realize the rest could count too. Now, who counts as exposed? This is the second place veterans wrongly rule themselves out. You didn't have to be deep in the jungle. Over the years, the rules kept widening, and today they reach a lot further than most people realize. They now include veterans who served aboard ships in the waters off the coast, what the VA calls the Blue Water Navy. They include certain veterans who served at air bases in Thailand, often near the perimeter. They include those who served along the Korean demilitarized zone during the years the chemical was used there. They can even include veterans who worked around the aircraft and equipment that carried it, or who served where it was stored or tested in places well outside the war itself. So even if you've told yourself for years that you weren't close enough for it to matter, don't be so sure. Who counts as exposed is far broader than most veterans assume, and it has only kept growing. If there's any chance your service put you near that chemical, it's worth asking, because the burden isn't on you to prove it caused your illness. It's only about establishing that you were there. And how much is this worth? Well, that depends on your disability rating, which is set by how serious your condition is on a scale from 0 to 100. Let me put some rough numbers on it so it's real. A veteran rated at 70% receives somewhere around $1,800 a month. At 100%, that climbs past $3,900 a month, and higher still if you have a spouse or children on your claim, and every dollar of it is tax-free. So where you land on that scale is what decides the size of your check, which is exactly why the exam we're about to talk about matters so much. On top of all that, there's back pay, which we'll get to because that can be the biggest piece of all. So now let me give you the part that matters most. Here's exactly how you claim it, step by step. Step 1, and this is the move almost nobody knows about, is called an intent to file. Before you gather a single document, you can tell the VA that you intend to file a claim. And the moment you do, they lock in your date. Think of it as raising your hand and saying, my claim starts today. And this matters a lot because your back pay reaches back to the date your claim begins. So the sooner that clock starts, the more you can be owed. You can put in an intent to file over the phone, online, or with a service officer, and it holds your place for a full year while you gather everything else. Do this first. Step 2 is your evidence, and it really comes down to just 2 things. 1, proof of your service, which for most veterans is that discharge paper, the DD-214. And 2, a diagnosis, a doctor's record showing you actually have the condition. That's it. Remember, you're not trying to prove the chemical caused your illness. The VA presumes that. You're only showing where you served and that you got the condition. Step 3 is filing the claim itself. You can do this on your own, online, or by mail, but this is exactly where a veteran service officer earns their keep, and their help costs you nothing. They know which conditions to claim, how to word it, and what to attach. Filing with one of them is the single smartest thing you can do. Step 4, the VA might send you for what's called a C&P exam. That stands for compensation and pension. It's a short examination where a doctor confirms your condition and how bad it is. Don't skip it and don't be nervous about it. Just be honest and describe your worst days, not only your good ones, because they're measuring how much this really affects your daily life. So that exam often decides your rating, and your rating decides your check. And step 5 is the one that can be worth a small fortune, so pay close attention. Because these conditions were added to that presumptive list under the law, there are special back pay rules that can reach much further than a normal claim. In some cases, all the way back to when you first could have filed, even if that was many years ago. So when you sit down with your service officer, ask them this exact question. Ask, given when my condition was added to the list, how far back can my effective date go? That one question can be the difference between a year of back pay and many years of it. And if you've ever been denied, don't treat that old no as the end. Because the list has grown, a condition that got rejected years ago might be accepted today. You can file what's called a supplemental claim, especially if you can hand them a new medical record. A lot of veterans who were turned away before are winning now, under rules that didn't even exist back then. Now let me be fair with you so you walk away with the truth and not a fantasy. Not every condition is on the list, and every veteran's situation is different. This isn't automatic money just for having served. The amount depends on your rating, and yes, you do have to file, but if you were exposed and you're living with one of these serious ordinary illnesses so many veterans carry as they age, there's a very real chance the VA already sees it as connected to your service and is ready to pay you for it. The only thing standing between a lot of veterans and that check is simply not knowing it's there. So here's what to do. Don't try to figure this out alone, and don't wait. Find an accredited veteran service officer, which costs you nothing. Put in that intent to file to start your clock today, and let them walk you through the rest. If you've got a diagnosis and you were exposed, you owe it to yourself to at least ask the question. If this helped you understand it, do one thing for someone who served. Send it to a veteran you know who served in those years, who's living with diabetes, heart trouble, or high blood pressure, and who's always figured none of it had anything to do with the service. That one message could point him toward a check he earned a long time ago. One honest note before I go. I'm not a lawyer, and I don't speak for the VA. This is general information, not advice about your personal claim, and the conditions on the list and the rules around them can change over time. For your own situation, sit down with an accredited veteran service officer or a veteran service organization. Most will help you at no cost, and they'll know your case far better than any video can. Thanks for spending these few minutes with me. Go ask the question, and I'll see you soon.